continue to look after him. And I want us all to give a big shout out for Minister Lake, just to let him know that he's still here with us and he's still one of us. I was listening to Senator Gavaya just now in her presentation, and she spoke about the decision that we have to make come March 21st. When we choose the leaders for this country, we have to be careful, comrades. We have to understand the seriousness of the decision we make when we dip our finger in that ink and we scratch our X next to a candidate. We need to really recognize and understand and appreciate the significance of that decision. I'm not going to bash anybody tonight, but I'm going to state facts. In fact, I might just pivot right here for a second. All right? Because you know pivot means center. That's what they say? But anyway. We have some opponents on all the different parties, blue and green and orange and whatever else, who I'm still struggling to understand on what basis they are prepared to come to you, the electorate, to tell you, elect them as government. When we elect people to rule this country and to be our parliamentary representatives, we need to take some time to look at what their track record is. And I'm not talking about the criminal enterprise. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the track record that any of them have with community service. Service to their country. Service to the constituency. Service to people. We have a group of candidates, many of whom have never accomplished any single thing in life. Most of them are doing this to try and get a job. That's the kind of people we need running this country. We need people who are community people. People who have been involved in their constituencies for a period of time. People who recognize that there are those persons in our constituencies who are vulnerable and need help. We had a town hall meeting at Golden Grove School about 2 months ago. And someone asked me at the time, you know, why you want to get involved in politics? You know, you're involved in sports and this and that and the other. Why you want to get involved in politics? And I said to them, I remember growing up in Ebenezer. And then we moved to Golden Grove. I used to have to get up, carry animals to pasture, full drum with water, and we grew up very poor. And growing up, I realized that hard work alone is not enough to get someone out of poverty. Hard work alone is not enough to elevate you in life. Sometimes you need someone to hold your hand and lift you up. And that is why we ought to elect politicians who understand that there are people out there who need someone to hold their hand and to lift them up. That is why the Antigua Labour Party has always had a track record and will always be the party of choice to the people in this country. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, throughout its entire history, has a track record of holding people and lifting them up. And that is why I, Daryl Sylvester Matthew, Sylvester, don't laugh, Daryl Sylvester Matthew, have chosen to get into electoral politics. And I have to tell you, I have never been prouder. Despite what they may say, my family has never been prouder. My constituency, the members of the branch, they have supported me well. And I'll tell you this here tonight. I commit to you, the people of St. John's Rural South, and to you, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, that I will be the best parliamentary representative this constituency has ever seen. And I'll tell you, that is no small feat, because when you have giants like the Honorable Weber Jr., who have represented this constituency, you can imagine the size of shoes that I'm seeking to fill. But with your support, your guidance, your encouragement, it will be done. Elections are coming up on March 24th, as we know. I nearly missed the date. I was just checking to see if you remembered. Elections are coming up, the 21st of March. And when we elect persons, we need to examine what the plans that they have for the constituency. And I'm being a little bit selfish now because I'm speaking to St. John's Rural South. Yes, Nayoka, we'll talk first. St. John's Rural South has always supported this party from decades. And I intend, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, I intend to give that support back to the constituency. We have been sitting over the past few months as a team, putting together a plan of action for the constituency. A plan that involves sports, education, healthcare, and I have to give a shout out to the Honorable Minister of Health, Minister for St. Mary's North, the Honorable Malwin Joseph, for the excellent work that you've been doing in healthcare in this country, sir. Keep it up. We're proud of you, and we love you. St. John's Rural South will be the constituency of choice in this country. St. John's Rural South will be at the pinnacle of greatness in this country, sporting excellence. And many of you know I'm a sportsman. I mightn't look like one anymore, but I'm a sportsman. We have already started to refurbish all the basketball courts in this country. Through the support of Public Works, we've started to do road works in this country roads that have gone neglected for years. And, you know, let me put a pause and talk about the roads, because I get very hurt, annoyed, and offended when I hear persons on the other side talking about bad roads. Bad roads don't develop in 3.5 years. Bad roads don't just appear. They don't just fall from the sky like manna from heaven. But yet, a lot of persons, self-righteous, standing on a platform saying, the road's bad, vote out Labour out of office because of bad roads. It's crazy. But I know, we are sensible people. We recognize the effort that the Honorable Prime Minister and his cabinet are putting to ensure that all the things that need to be done, we don't care who did it, we will fix it. Because at the end of the day, leadership does matter. And the Honorable Prime Minister is the Prime Minister of choice in this country. When you look at the other side, a government that has been in power for 10 years, and you ask any one of the persons, how has your quality of life improved under the United Progressive Party in 10 years? They can't answer. You look at Rural West, where the former Prime Minister was the MP for decades. And the quality of life of the persons in that constituency remained exactly the same in 2014 when he barely crossed the line. And Comet Benjamin, you better take care of him this time. Take care of that constituency. The quality of life of the persons in Rural West was exactly the same. And his exit as his entrance. That cannot be right. When you look around this country today, despite everything that you may hear on the streets, you ask persons, has your quality of life improved? Has the quality of housing improved? They will tell you a resounding yes. Because this Prime Minister and this government and this cabinet, they understand the things that matter to people. They understand that housing matters. And so the Prime Minister put forward a housing program. And they may say, well, you don't finish the 500 homes yet. We know that, we understand. But we've started, and they're ongoing, and people are working, and people are moving into the homes. So don't worry about that. We will finish. You understand? We will finish. The Prime Minister has made it clear that the poor and indigent in this country must be elevated. And so he put the Honorable Samantha Marshall in the Ministry of Social Transformation. And you see the fantastic work that she's doing. How many of you remember when we were still using the Halberton Hospital? And people used to call it Kilberton. And then we moved into the Mount St. John's Medical Center. And then they started to say, well, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. So even though you have a nice, pretty hospital, and the quality of care doesn't improve, nothing will change. And we had some horror stories of the Mount St. John Hospital. And yet, in 3.5 short years, our medical the area of medicine in this country has improved dramatically. And I can tell you this, it's not easy, it's not cheap, but at the end of the day, every life counts. And so when the government invests money in healthcare, when the government invests money in our hospital, our dialysis unit, and all the other clinics around this country, we must recognize, when they ask you where the CIP money gone, tell them that's where it gone. Comrades, I love you. Because you know why? I'll be honest. Eh, Look at people. My family, uh, part of my family, I should say, we've never been the mic, right? We were not traditional UPP people growing up, but you grew up in a household and you just do what the family does. You understand? It's almost like confirmation at church. You go and you're baptized as a child without knowing what's happening. And that's the reason for adult confirmation, because you can now choose the pathway you want to go. I could not be happier that I've chosen the path to become a member of the Antigua Labour Party. And the open arms that I've received from all of you almost brought me to tears. And I commit and pledge that I will not disappoint you. And so, on election day, March 21st, not only do I want to hear Labour and Matthew to Rural South, but throughout the 16 constituencies in Antigua and the one in Barbuda, all I want is Labour, 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 because they're winning all 17 constituencies. And so, come election day, come on May, rain, sun, it doesn't matter. Make sure you go, vote, and support the Antigua Labour Party. I love you. God bless you. Take care. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Rural South. Yes. Yes. Now, candidate Matthew spoke about the choosing of candidates and how important it is for you to choose the right person to represent you. I got a phone call this afternoon, and the person said that they were told that the way the UPP chose their candidate, they were at a meeting one night, and the leader said, all who want to run, put up your hand. And when you look at it, it seems like he's correct. I have been following elections in this country since 1971. I started very early. And it's the first election that I don't even know half of the candidates of the UPP. And I know them. Never see them. So it must have been a put-up hand thing. Boy, when we finish with them, see? When we finish with them, I want to tell you all, on election night, have Red Cross and stand by. Make sure, Comrade Malwin, that Mount St. John is ready. Because plenty of them don't end up there. I mean, I wish nobody crazy. And I wanted to tell some people, I have some good friends at two places down there. But I mean, I really want them go down there either. They must live to suffer for all the wickedness they have done to the people of this country. And so we're going to vote Labour, Labour, Labour. Comrades, we have a former Prime Minister who represented a constituency for nearly 30 years. 10 years as Prime Minister. And it's a shame that the constituency of St. John's Rural West is the most depraved constituency in this entire country. You all should have get rid of that man long time ago. But there is hope. And so we're moving to rural West right now. And I want to invite the next representative, the Honorable Senator Londell Benjamin. Let's bring him on stage.
Comrades, Rural West, where are you? Good, you're right here. Good. This election, let me warn you, this election is about stability and empowerment, and you cannot afford to throw that away. Let me warn you, I am here tonight to warn you from that failed experiment called the UPP. I'm warning you. You remembered what happened from 2004 to 2014. It's the worst time in Antigua's history. Poverty ruled supreme. Debt. Allow the ambulance to pass. Good. Let me tell you about that failed experiment called the UPP. And I want you tonight, if you have understanding and if you have discernment, name me, should God forbid, name me a cabinet from that side. None. Nobody on that side qualified. And so, 2 nights ago, you heard me retired some guys. And tonight, I'm about to retire another one. Because students are calling me. Remember, I asked the students to come forward the other night on the West Indies Oil Company issue, where they found a good friend, Hugo Chavez, and he sent them 26 oil tankers with petroleum products, and they sold all of it to West Indies Oil for $350 million. And in the end, by 2013, they owed West Indies Oil $80 million. So school children have been calling me all day, since day before yesterday and all today. They say, Mr. Benjamin, how could that be? I say, boy, that must be new maths or Lovell maths. That is Lovell maths. How could it happen? But it went further than that, you know. On each shipment, they gave them 2 years before they start to pay. That is called moratorium. So they had the people money, you know. West Indies oil paid in full, so they had money. They start to pay 2 years after. And not only that, they were paying at 2%, so they had plenty of money. So what do you think they did with the money? They start a Kruby. Kruby, we don't have to give account, Kruby. But they forgot that they have to start pay 2 years later. And then they start to blame economic downturn. Economic downturn. Everything for them is economic downturn. When you live at home and things bad, what you do? You start to tighten your belt, ain't it? Mommy say, we have to cut back on that, and cut back on that, and cut back on this. And if during that time you only steal anything out of the cookie jar, mommy would put your hand in hot water. But that's so with you people. They spent to thief. And I can say thief because they spent $1.4 billion in roads. And we can't find those roads. And they spend 60 million at the Sir Vivian Richards Center, Sir Vivian Richards grounds, building roads, 6 miles of road. 6 miles of road during the economic crisis, you know. $1.4 billion in roads during economic crisis, and you can't find them. Yet they fail, and they blame economic crisis. They're still blaming economic crisis up to this day. But we know that it was no economic crisis. We know it's common sense. They have no brain. They can't run anything. They can't count. So, when the big man, Gaston Brown, Prime Minister of Antigua, when he took over, he said, no, that's not how it goes. He eliminated corruption. Eliminated completely. And he increased foreign domestic. And he increased foreign domestic funds and aggressively looked at tourism. And in 3.5 years, Lovell left an economy decimated by 27%. 27% of our GDP went flying. And I believe it's somewhere in somebody's pocket or somebody's bank account somewhere overseas. And we are going to find it before long. I can tell you we are going to find those monies and we are going to plow them right back here. And so, comrades, in 3.5 years, the genius Gaston Brown turned a negative 27% to a plus 10%, that is 37% reverse. That's a genius, that's a stroke of genius. For 5 years, they were fighting to save a bank. 5 years. They had no solution, none whatsoever. They tried all kinds of things. They even bought the bank guru here, and he said, it's better to flush it down the tube. And Gaston Brown said, no, flush through down tube. That would cause a run on all the banks in the Eastern Caribbean. And he said, no, I have the remedy for that, man. That is simple. I'm a banker. That is simple maths. And all he did, he brought the DPT, Depositors Protection Trust. And he went through the accounts and he said, look, we can't afford this embarrassment in the OECS. All you people with more than $500,000 in this bank, you have to leave it there. We will pay you interest. We will pay you your interest when your interest falls due. But you have to leave that money there to save a run on the bank. And you know what a run on the bank would have done to the OECS? it would have decimated the whole region. And from that day, they are looking at our prime minister as the leader of the region. A genuine, a genius. The man is great. Give him his, oh yes, give it to him. He deserves it. A young leader. And then he says, you know, I believe in the creed. I believe in the equal distribution of wealth and the empowerment of our people. And that is what the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party is here for, to empower you. To empower you. And that is why we are still building more schools, so that you can get a better and a good education. And they have a fool down by me. They say he has his master's, and he voted against having a university in his constituency. That fool, they call him Richard something, Canai Lois. The man is a fool, joining with idiots to keep young people down. That is the kind of leadership they think of. We want to see everybody being lifted up. We are going to hold all of you by your shoestring and lift you up, pull you up. That is what we're here about, all about. I know how it is. I remember when I went for my first job, just left school, and I went up to the sugar factory. And when I looked in there, I saw all fair-skinned people. And they say, look, it's better you try down at Tomlinson's workshop. And so I went down there, and the man read my application and everything. He said, you know, young Benjamin, your application is good, but I see at the top, Gray's Farm. So I said, so what that mean? He said, well, you're from Gray's Farm, so. But he said, I see your principal is also Mr. Basil Peters. I said, well, call him. And he called Basil. And at that time, Basil had no vehicle. But in less than, I think, 10 minutes, Basil was there. So when Mr. Peters came in, he said, I understand you're having some problems. He said, no, it's not really a problem, you know, but Mr. Benjamin's application is good, but he's from Gray's Farm. And Basil says, you know me? He said, no, all I know, you're the principal of Princess Margaret School. And he turned to him, he said, but I'm from Point. He said, oh, you're from Point? He said, yeah, Point I'm from. And so he said, Mr. Benjamin, the job is yours. So you know, when you are from ghetto areas, you have to work twice as hard. You know, and then I met a good friend later on in life. He and I started in the accounting profession just about the same time. I went private accounting and he went auditing. No, it's not Frederick. It's one Mr. Wilbur Harrigan. And he was auditing Liat. And he said, look, we have some problems up there. Let me take you up there. And he took me there. And when I got there, the people were saying, but Mr. Benjamin, how you got this job? This job was never advertised in Antigua. And prior to you coming here, it's all Trinidadians occupied that position. I said, well, I'm here to make a change. And I didn't make a change. I was general accountant, financial accountant, revenue accountant, and deputy general manager of finance when I left there. So I am encouraging you, send your children to school. My grandmother was from Montserrat, and she says there's one thing with Monstratians, they send their children to school. So I urge you, go to school and learn well. Otherwise in life, you know what will happen. So tonight, I urge all of you here who are not booked in this Second Chance program, and that's a program by my minister, Samantha Marshall, the only Marshall in town. Give her some break, man. Give her Give a shout for her. So if you have no subjects now, second chance. Second chance will give you that chance. You can do one subject per year. And in 7 years, you would have had 7 subjects. It's as simple as that. Do not pass these opportunities. Labor is preparing the way for you. And if you do not prepare yourself, you will be left behind. And no one wants to be left behind. We are not about leaving people behind. We are about lifting you up. Not like that one that we are down there, the Rural West. 29 years, we supported him, and he did nothing. And then he got in the place and started to talk about how they're going to pay for house. As if that's a problem. The Honorable Prime Minister said that he will write an indemnity to bypass the deposit and give you equity. He will give you a house valued at $285,000 for $185,000. That is already an advance equity of $100,000 in your pocket. Do you want better than that? With that $100,000, you can go and get an additional mortgage. You can get a second charge and a third charge and a fourth charge amounting to $100,000 to equal to your equity. That is what empowerment is all about. That is what Gaston Brown is all about. And I don't want he can sing, and you know I can't sing, but them flop, them flop, them flop, them flop. They can't come back. I want to warn you people, we have to retire all of them before the 21st of March. We are going to send them in retirement. We have no room here for them. They're failures. None of them have anything to show. None of them made any progress in life. And let me tell you, all organizations are trusted and tested and tested and tested by the performance of their leader. And look at Harold Lovell. What is his performance? He has absolutely no performance to talk about. He's a failure, a total failure. So let me hear you on the 21st of March. Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Hello, yes. Them flop. Them flop. Them flop. Flop, them flop, them flop. Flop. Good, good, good. I want to tell you, on the 21st of March, who you voting for? Who you voting for? I urge you, on the 21st of March, make sure you vote Londell Benjamin. Londell Benjamin. Londell Benjamin and the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party. Good night.
the driver of A32931, 32931, please remove your vehicle. You're blocking someone. I want you to pause for a moment as we recognize our emeritus leader, the Honorable Sylvester Bradburn, who is seated somewhere down there. Let's give him a good shout out. One of the finest leaders that the Caribbean region has ever seen. Okay. Three and a half years ago, a young man entered Parliament of this country. And the Honorable Prime Minister, in his wisdom, assigned him the Ministry of Education. 3.5 years later, we have seen the difference. Comrades, let's go to All Saints West as we invite the Honorable Michael Brown.
Labour Party must done them. 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 The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party must done them. You have done them. You must done them. You must done them. UPP, we must done them. DNA, we must done them. Mediocrity, we must done them. 2014. 2014. You couldn't even go to a supermarket. You couldn't go to a supermarket. Everywhere across Antigua, people were begging. People were begging for heart surgery, for foot surgery, for hand surgery. Begging with sponsor sheet. I want you to imagine with me. Suppose Sharifa Gasper had to beg. Suppose she had to beg for all of you who have to go to the cancer center. Suppose you had to beg for the kidney transplant patients. Suppose they had to beg. You have to done them. You have to done them. You must done them. It's very simple. Very, very simple. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, they ask, what have we done? And why we call the elections early? We never call the elections early. We call the elections per time. And the time is time to done them. We must done them. Because if you don't done the UPP, they will done Antigua and Barbuda. They will done this country. And you have to done them. Let me tell you what we did. In 2015, the economy was falling apart. And this government led by Gaston Brown fixed it. We fix it. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party done the poverty that was ruining, done the unemployment, done the lack of education, done the lack of health care, and you now have to done them. You must done them. I sat in cabinet, and you had the entire executive of Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And Sir Dwight Venner, Lord bless his soul, he came in and he sat next to the Prime Minister. And when he sat next to the Prime Minister, after he spoke, you thought Antigua done. The picture was gloom. And that was the time they turned to the Prime Minister and said, there's an additional debt that the previous administration left for your government that we didn't tell you about, but we just found out. And after they gave the prescription for Antigua, I done them, they want done this little country. They wanted to done this little country. And the Prime Minister sat down. And when he sat down, he seckled himself. He seckled himself. And after the Prime Minister seckled himself, he said, that don't make no sense. He said, that don't make any sense. We cannot let ABIB collapse. And he started going through the list. He said, who are the biggest persons? The persons with the biggest accounts at ABIB. They were local Antiguans. Local Antiguans! And the Prime Minister said, let's pick up the phone and call them. We're going to give them a promise. We're going to give them an understanding. And we're going to show them how good government works. And he picked up the phone in cabinet. And he called them one at a time. And he gave them the reassurance. Don't worry. You won't have all your money today. But this government will make sure you have it tomorrow. And he went against the advice of Sir Dwight Venner and the other members of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And up to now, they can't believe about economic prosperity. They can't believe about economic prosperity. You have to done them. You must done the UPP. It is your job to done the UPP. In 2015, Prime Minister Gaston Brown led a cabinet in stabilizing this economy. And that is why you have to done them. 2015 behind us. 2016 ahead of us. In 2016, the Minister of Health, the Honorable Malwin Joseph, good man, good man. Good man. He took on the challenges personal health care system. No. Everybody knows that sometimes they call me the lamb-like beast because I don't play. I don't play. I talk it like it is. I tell you like it is. And when me done, me gone back all Saints West. And if you feel you're bad, because the last time Chakusu missed the Country Farm with a motorcade, I said, you say one more word and this motorcade done. He said, one more word. I pulled my car right across the road, opened my bonnet and took out my keys. I said, bad man they tongue, bad man they all Saints West. We must done them. Done them. Done them. Many of them walking around acting like bad man. Bad man for who? Bad man for who? I listen to George Wenner on the radio, and when you hear him on the radio, he's so tall. When you see him in person, what a mice. What a mice. What a mice. You have to done them. Back to 2016. People crying like crazy. Can't get no service in Mount St. John Medical Center. Can't get no service. Mothers had babies and couldn't even get the birth paper because they couldn't pay. Couldn't pay. People couldn't get anything out of medical benefits. Can't get nothing out of medical benefits. People with cancer can't get no treatment. Cancer center done and not going nowhere. And the Honorable Malwin Joseph took on health, took on the challenges of health, took on the challenges of health, and he done the mediocrity. Done the mediocrity. And you want to hear a joke? The wicked UPP administration. The wicked UPP administration took a man who had his own little clinic and made him chairman of Mount St. John board. If you have your private business, how you gonna run government business properly? You have to done them. You must done them. You have to done them. You don't have a choice. You must done them. All across the Eastern Caribbean, they say, well, the Honorable Malwin Joseph did not perform the kidney transplant himself, but he doesn't have to. He put the policies in place. He put the pressure to make sure that we got the equipment in place. And good people hire good people. Good people hire good people. You have to done them. You must done them. Done them. You have to done them. There was a time in Antigua and Barbuda, you couldn't even come out your house. You couldn't come out your house. Women were afraid to stay in their homes by themselves. All kind of mass man walk up and down the place. Up and down the place. And the Honorable Cutie Benjamin, you know Cutie mouth sweet. You know Cutie mouth sweet. And the Honorable Cutie Benjamin, he came to cabinet and he said, equip the police. Sort them out. And after you sort them out, give them the resources to do the work. We got done the criminals. We got done the criminals. Done the criminals. And when you look across Antigua and Barbuda, they talk about some vampire fellow. He's soon done. He's soon done. But when you look at Antigua and Barbuda and compare to our neighbors, you can sleep with your door open. You can sleep with your door open. You can walk down the road in peace. You can walk in peace. One crime for the whole year. One homicide for the whole year. We got done them. Done them. Done them. We must done them. When we came into office, you couldn't get water for wash your skin. Couldn't get water to wash your skin. Every minute, current off. Every minute, current off. And the Honorable Robin Haywood, when he came to cabinet and he laid out the plan, and this government started buying desalination plant, desalination plant, desalination plant, desalination plant. And the UPP came out, and when they came out, they said, we're going to done all the water problems. How are you going to done the water problems? You can't done all the water problems. But look at where we were then, and look at where we are now. We must done them. We must done them. You have to done them. You must done them. Quite recently, I heard members of the international cricket fraternity giving praises and kudos to the government of Antigua and Barbuda, and in particular to the Minister of Sports for standing up and fighting to make sure that cricket takes place in Antigua and Barbuda. It brings joy to my heart when people are coming from across the Caribbean, coming here to play cricket in Antigua and Barbuda. They complain about Yasco. What a nerve! What a nerve! Take your time. We got done them. Take your time. We got done them. We must done them. They talk about tourism. Tourism. Only thing I have to say is a pity I wasn't a taxi man. Because when you walk through St. John's, whether it's a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, cruise ship left, right, and center. If you think our hotels empty, you try book a room. You try book a room. You try book a room. We haven't done them. We must done them. We must done them. In 2017, they like to talk about education. Oh my. Oh my. They love to talk about education. And let me talk about the one project that nearly nyam out them tamok. Yes. They look at the Five Islands campus. And when they look at the Five Islands campus, all their vision could see was a secondary school. Sometimes when you send people to negotiate on behalf of the country, you can't send paper money people. You have to send people that have vision. You can't send people who are going to pivot in the middle. You can't send them kind of people there. You have to send people with vision. You have to send people with vision. They look at the Five Islands campus, and where they see a secondary school, we say, no, we're going to upgrade it because we want to make it into a university. We must make it into a university. And all the talks that the Honorable Harold Luffel have about education and math under his tenure as finance minister, nobody cut education budget more than Harold Luffel. Cut education budget left, right, and center. Under this government, under the Gaston Brown-led administration, every single year, education budget rising and rising and rising. And then we start to expand the school plans. And let me tell you, when we start to expand the school plans, I got to tell you how we done them. We roll out Princess Margaret School and done them. We roll out Clay Hall Secondary School and done them. We roll out Jennings Secondary School and done them. We roll out the Antigua Girls High School and done them. We expanded Pickett's Primary School and done them. We built the Aviation Center at Antigua State College and done them. They burned down the All Saints Secondary School administration block and we built it back 3 times as large and done them. I leave the best for last. I leave the best for last. Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda decided we are going to build the first phase of a new secondary school. Have mercy. A new secondary school. You think that anyway there was a school earmarked for All Saints West, anybody could take it from me? No, we done them first. Done them first. And when we start to roll out, in one day, the site start clear. The bush start move to the side. Foundation start to dig. And when foundation done dig at about 5 o'clock, by about 11 p.m., foundation done cast. Steel start run up. 14 hours afterwards, blocks start climb up. And then they start to complain. We going over budget. We turning all the money. Where we wasting money going? Why we hurrying? But guess what? We just progressing because we know we got done them. We must done them. Walls start go up. When the roof start go on, man get frightened. Because they know we got done them. They know we're going to done them. And when they call me and they said, Mr. Minister, what color are we going to paint the roof? I said, paint it a color that will done them. Paint it a color that will done them. And when you listen to the snaggletooth critics, when you listen to the $2 critics, and after a while they start saying, they can't do it for September. They can't move in for September. They will build half a school. They will build part of school. And guess what? When St. Novel Richards open, we done them. We done them. We done them. You think this administration plays? You think the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party plays? Wait. Oh, you don't come here for play? You come here for play? You come here for play? You come here for play? No. You come here for play? Oh, come here for done them. We must done them. Must done them. In All Saints West. In All Saints West. There's a former comrade. A former comrade. He and I grew up around the Honorable Hilroy Humphreys. He was a labor man to the core. He soon come back home. After this done, he will come back home. He came already. I tell the Prime Minister to bring him. But he all right. There's my opponent. He criticizes the government. He criticizes me. And when I went on the radio interview, and they asked me, How do I feel about my opponent's interview? I didn't think it was a laughing matter. I still don't think it is a laughing matter. You know why? Your future is not a joke. Your future is not a joke. When it comes to leadership, you must be prepared. This is not a puppy show thing. The last time we had a puppy show government, the economy couldn't catch itself. This is not a puppy show matter. This is a serious matter. And that's why I say here, in All Saints West, we have made significant strides. Listen to what I just told you. In 2015, the Prime Minister led the way stabilizing the economy. In 2016, you had from the Minister of Health to the Minister of Sports to National Security to Utilities and all the other ministers stabilizing to make sure you have a better life and a better living. In 2016, education, turn up. Turn up. In 2018, the budget has already been set. Where Public Works previously got $13 million, people, I'm asking you to hold strain. This year, Public Works has $17 million. They say it's an election gimmick, but guess what? Everything we touch, we fix. Everything we touch, we fix. Don't take this election lying down. Don't take this election like a joke. Reach out to Labour Party people. Reach out to UPP people. Reach out to the Turncoat Labour Party people. Reach out to the UPP people who turned DNA. Reach out to all of them. When people say they can't see a particular person, hold them hand. Say, you don't have to see he. You don't have to see she. You see economic progress. You see economic progress. Don't wait for us to come. You come. I met a young lady walking through Sevier Farm this afternoon. And when she was walking through Sevier Farm, she said, I stopped her. I said, I never see your face before. She said, I'm new in the community, but I now vote. So now ask me. I said, no, come. Come. And when she came, I said, you have to vote. And this is why you have to vote. And when me done campaign, I say, as a matter of fact, voting is too simple. Go upstairs and tell them give a Michael Brown t-shirt. Put it on! Put it on! And when you done putting on that Michael Brown t-shirt, make out a campaign. You too young with too bright future to waste it. People, when you go out, now come you one. Each of you bring 10. Each of you must bring 10. Make sure they register. Make sure they have the voters card. Make sure they have that ID. Make sure they have the weapon. And when you are going to the polls, hold the hand. Hold the hand and bring them. And when you bring them, tell them one thing. Are we going to done them? Are we going to done them? Are we going to done them? People, thank you so much for listening. And good night. We have to done them. Done them! Done them!
Comrade Brown, I want to know where you eat lunch today. Can me want to eat there tomorrow? What energy? We got done them. Done them. In 1994, you elected a gentleman to Parliament to represent you. And he has not lost his seat yet. And in 2018, he got done somebody who don't even begin yet. Comrades, we're going to St. John's City South. Michael Brown say he mouth sweet. Let's welcome the Honorable State Roy Cutie Benjamin, the Love Man.
What is that? I know who I am. Hey, I am. Love you. Good night, everybody. I know who I am. And once God is for me, no one can be against me. And no weapons formed against me can conquer. That's the Antigua Labour Party. I am. My people. My people. Tonight I've come to talk to you. I've come to talk to you. Whilst campaigning today, a group of young people came to me. They said to me, not only do they love me, but I love them too. But they said to me, why did your party choose the theme, Rebuilding Together? I am going to tell you why we did that. In 2004, Antigua's economy was a total and complete disaster. We owed everybody, the IMF, all the international bodies, SEMCOR, you name it, we owed them. In crime, women could not walk the streets of St. John's. They were under attack. The country was a waste of time. People couldn't buy food to eat. They called the Halberton Hospital the House of Horrors. You remember? You remember that? When we came to power, what did we do? I'll tell you. We started to rebuild. We started to work. We started to make certain that our education system functioned. Can you recall that the schools were overcrowded? Can you recall that there was no places for children to sit? Examinations were poor. Mathematics results were poor. So what did we do? That young gentleman that done them, he made it sure that our results got better. We are building. Can you recall people up at the hospital lying and dying outside? No treatment, no proper treatment. Baldwin Joseph, the Minister of Health, brought Antigua out of the doldrums and into the modern days. Heart transplant being done. That was done by this wonderful Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. Labour all the way. Not only that, remember 3.5 years ago, I stood on this platform and I said to you, there was a lady in Casada Gardens. She was cooking her food and she noticed that the food was taking a little long to get cooked. When she go outside, the gas gone. Another lady, she washed her clothes and had the clothes hanging on the line. She fell asleep, and when she woke up, all the clothes gone. Not anymore in Antigua and Barbuda. We have now brought Antigua and Barbuda to a safe place. So students, when we say we are rebuilding together, we have started to reconstruct Antigua and Barbuda. We have started to get the economy back together again. We are working hard on the health ministry. We are working hard with Robin Yearwood. We are working hard on sports. With all about the difficulties we have up there, our young athletes go out and they win medals all over the place. Just yesterday, or 2 days ago, 2 young persons qualified for the World Games. Did you know that? So when we say we are rebuilding together, we are still rebuilding. So students, when you write your paper, remember the whole thought. The thought is, we are rebuilding together. And people, don't be fooled by those wonderful nothings you're hearing about. They are empty promises. They are a failed experiment. 10 years of gloom and doom and suffering and shame and, I'm not going to say pain. It was misery in the highest order. What have we done? I'll tell you about crime. Even though they say that we have done enough, Antigua and Barbuda is the safest country in the region. So far for the year, we have had only 1 serious crime of murder. In St. Kitts and Nevis, in Trinidad, they're balling murder. In Jamaica, they are asking for help. Antigua and Barbuda, we have it under control. But let me tell you, a few days ago, some police officers, by some strange reason, allowed a man with jacket to escape. This is very worrying to the government. We are satisfied, however, that plans are being made for him to be recaptured. But those officers, I can tell you, who were responsible for that irresponsible act will be dealt with. Will be dealt with. And I'll tell you why my government is serious as well. We, this government, recognized that in order to do government business, we had to go to Parliament regularly. Check the records. No other government in the history of this country has been to Parliament more than this government in 3.5 years. Not only that, but when you go to Parliament, my friends, give me a smile. When you go to Parliament, we look at the people's business. In 1999, I was the Minister of Labor then, and we had an increase in the minimum wage. It took us until 2015, the 1st of January, when this government once again increased the minimum wage to $8.50. This government, and I make this promise tonight, that when we shall have been returned to power the 21st, very soon thereafter, we will look at the minimum wage and increase that too. We have to look at the cost of living. This is what we are going to do. This government, going to Parliament regularly, recognized that there were times when people got into accidents and they couldn't get proper compensation. You could only get $10,000 or a maximum of $100,000. Do you know what we did? We went to Parliament, amended the law, so now we can get up to $250,000. This government did that in 3.5 years. When you choose persons, you look at if they're competent or not. Well, let me tell you something that bothered me and what has been corrected. There are times when young girls are abused. It takes years before the cases are called. This government, thinking about you, your safety, your security, we have now established in Antigua a sexual offenses court. What it means is this: When an offense is committed, within 18 months from the date of commission, that case will come to an end. We have been chosen as the country in which we will be the starters for the entire region, Antigua and Barbuda. Not only that, we recognize too, Daryl, my son, that there are many problems with the family division. Many problems with the family division. And the OECS court has made Antigua and Barbuda the model country to have a model course being done. You know why? Antigua great, man. We have what it needs, man. We have the infrastructure, man. We have the structure. We have Mr. Nicholas, our minister, who has brought us up to date with technology. Antigua and Barbuda. And remember, my friends, many persons get into problems. My government was of the opinion that every person must be able to be represented. So what did we do? We built up and strengthened the legal aid advice clinic. It is now set up at the top of Redcliffe Street. So, if you are wronged by somebody and you have no money for it, you go to legal aid and they will help you. If somebody did something wrong, you want to be defended, you go to legal aid and you get your help. Many times, my friends, people go to jail because they aren't represented. Today, this government has made it possible to get defense for free. This is what we call a caring government. A government that cares for all the people, all the time, every time. This is the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. Finally, I want to say on this matter, for many, many years, persons are complaining of harassment. They are saying that many times they go to court when there is not a case against them. So what have we done? We have led the region again in establishing a criminal prosecution department under the DPP. No longer can anybody say that any policeman advantaged them, because every case that comes before the court from now on will be sanctioned by the Director of Public Prosecutions. And if there is not sufficient evidence, you will not be charged. We, this government, is prepared to do everything in our power to make certain that we serve you, the people of this country. My friends, elections will be called on March 25th. March 21st. I give you the assurance now that the first constituency to be returned will be St. John's City South. We're going to eat them raw. We're going to mash up them, dig out the eye, walk up the knee. Short shirt, tell me how to deal with them. The first constituency to be returned will be St. John's City South. They asked the question, what are the chances of anybody beating me St. John's City South? I said the chances are 0 to 0. 0 to 0. I want my friends to understand behind me that we are fighting as a team together. Nobody go run me from where me come from, and me come from here. They can't bang me here. Nobody can bang me here. This is my turf. My turf. I am. We are. Nobody can bang the Labour Party. I can assure you, on election day, Labour all the way. Love you. Good night.
That was the love man. Yes. You know, the UPP keep complaining that the Prime Minister called election too quick. Now what a done set of people. You in opposition and you're not prepared. And so they remind me of a story in the Bible about the 10 virgins. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. And you know what happened? When the wedding came, the 5 foolish ones had no oil. But let me tell you something. The only difference between those 5 and the UPP is that the UPP are 17 foolish. You can't even call them virgins. What a done set of people. You in opposition and you're not prepared. Our next speaker and I share a very special relationship. He's my comrade and he's my brother. You understand? Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, we're going to St. Paul's. You're not excited? We're going to St. Paul's. You know, I also feel very sorry for Comrade Green. Look who they give Jack. Some kind of driftwood. What an embarrassment to this country. And as Comrade Michael Brown said, we must done them. They have a reef out by Millennium Cage Reef. Let driftwood drift out there and stick. Comrade Green, come to the microphone and done he.
Who God bless, no man shall ever curse. He shall be first. He shall be first. Aha. Burning the midnight oil, creating something from nothing. Now it reached maturity and gained popularity. Some of them claiming it's their own thing. Who God bless, no man curse. Good night, comrades. Good night, Tweds Corner. Very pleasant night on the beautiful skies. The 4th night of campaign 2018. Before I go any further, the driver of A32931. You're blocking someone with an emergency. A32931. Please remove your vehicle. Sooner the better. Comrades, tonight, I want to do a couple of things. I want to start with some housekeeping matters from St. Paul's. Charity begins at home. I got a voice clip today. Somebody sent to my phone with a voice that I recognize to be some kind of drifting voice, saying that anybody that back UPP have no brain. I said, wow, this is interesting. The person who is declaring that anybody who backs UPP has no brain, themselves back UPP. Well, case closed. Case closed. I witnessed this afternoon while campaigning in Falmouth some very interesting things. Very interesting things. I mean, somebody have a farmer in the crowd there? Good, good. This fella they call some kind of driftwood walks around St. Paul telling people that I have done nothing for the community. Well, I want tonight, very quickly, to mention just a handful of things that we, not I, because I am part of a team. It's called Team Labor. And if you know me, I have serious problems taking credit personally for anything. I'm about a team effort, team approach. And so I want to educate Jifu tonight. But the problem might be I can't educate him because he has no brain. I didn't say so. He said so. I will, however, try to help him by pointing some things to him about St. Paul's that he might not even recognize or know, simply because he has no brain. Upon coming to office in 2014, we inherited not only drought conditions, but water shortage. And I want to make a difference, because Antigua and Barbuda today is still in drought conditions, but we do not have water shortage. And one of the first things we said to do as a government was to put in place the reverse osmosis plant in Pigeon Point to service the St. Paul's community. You think Jiff would know that? Clearly, he has no brain. We did not only put the reverse osmosis plant in place for the yachties. We did so because we recognize that St. Paul's is a very prominent, significant, and serious hub, economic hub in this country. The yachting industry, the hotel industry, a large restaurant community, and of course, the local population. So when Jiffwood says that for 3.5 years, I did nothing, I want to remind him that if he's wanting to bathe, he's bathing tonight thanks to me and Labour Party for putting water in place in English Harbour. But poor fella might not understand that because he has no brain. When we came to office, I'm sure you recall that year after year for about 3, 4, 5 years, every regatta in English Harbour ended up in some major problems with our people. Yachty murdered, yachties robbed, all kinds of foolishness. And right away we decided that safety of our visitors and the wider community had to be given priority. And so we fixed the police station in English Harbour. Poor Jiffwood don't even know that because he has no brain. I tried my best to get people like Driftwood to go to computer classes. And so we started computer classes in English Harbour, Copscore School, and in Liberta for the benefit of our people. Jiffwood did not go. Didn't show up. And I think I know why. He has no brain. But we didn't stop there. We gave concession after concession after concession to taxi drivers to ensure that the taxi drivers in the area would have a modern fleet of vehicles to carry the increased number of visitors that come to Antigua. I myself took Driftwood to a local car dealership to make sure he could change the old car he had and be a part of what we're trying to accomplish of modernizing the fleet of vehicles. Poor fellow. Ended up with problems by getting a vehicle over Red Hill. How he do that, God in heaven alone knows. And if you see the height of the road from where the vehicle end up, you wonder how Jiffwood is still alive, or you wonder how that happened. They say he talking to the insurance, and the insurance saying, boy, you have no brains. We didn't stop there. We continued. Because this government is on a path of creating wealth. We make no apology. We want every single person in this country to be a part of the movement of the economy upwards and therefore be wealthy. And make no apology for it. Tell everybody you want to be rich. Nothing wrong with being rich. Be prepared to work for it. That's all you have to do. And so, Jiffwood doesn't even know that we have given concessions after concession after concessions to business people in St. Paul's community to grow their businesses, to be a part of this movement led by Gaston Brown and his administration to grow the economy and empower and mature people. There are some things in life I take blame for, and some I don't. Like I say, I share all credit with my team and with the team of the Cabinet of Ministers. Jiffwood does not even know that since coming to office, that we brought a bus specifically to transport the elderly of St. Paul's, to meet their medical appointments and anything else they want to do. And we did that when we realized that under the UPP, same party, with people with no brains, the Cops Cause Clinic was infested and forced to shut. And so that vehicle today continues to provide services to people of St. Paul's, especially the elderly, to take them on their medical appointments, to the cancer center, and anywhere else they have to go. But poor Jiffwood wouldn't know, because he has no brains. Since coming to office, every month, barring none, 52 persons on average receive care packages in St. Paul's. Well, tell Jiffwood, if he wants to be caring, if he wants to be a part of this positive movement, which seeks to provide and create comfort for the people of St. Paul's, he must stop and listen. And even though he has a learning deficit, he could at least pick up something. We continue in St. Paul's to ensure that our people are well taken care of. Our sports facilities upgraded. Our lighting upgraded. Our roads upgraded. See, there's an old saying, he who slips betimes. Because while Jiff would have no brain, at least one thing he should admit. A road in English Harbour called Hospital Hill. When I was campaigning in 2014, I promised the people there, if elected, I will fix that road as a first order of business. Because it will help taxi drivers in particular in their trade. And guess who a taxi driver? Jiffwood. Jiffwood drives on that road every day, every night to make $1. A road that IE cars were built after coming to office in 2014. Yet Jiffwood say I did nothing. So I conclude that Jiffwood, based on his own admission, has no brain. But let me leave Jiffwood for now. Let him keep drifting. Keep drifting. Because in St. Paul's, we're anchored with green in 2018. Comrades, for the time on the podium tonight, I want to also speak to all of us about March 21st, Election Day, and the need for us to get ready. The need for us to ensure that in every street, in every home, in every village, on every corner, that every elector is in a state of readiness to go and vote come March 21. I want to encourage us by reminding us that a few years ago, 3.5 years ago, the condition of this country's economy was such that we had to go to the lender of last resort, the IMF. And I fast forward to this year, 2018, 3.5 years after, where we have been able to pay down the IMF debt to the point that come June this year, the IMF will not be needed in St. John's, Antigua. I want to remind us, people, I want to remind us that 3.5 years ago, a lot of us were crying, actually crying when we heard of the conditions and the treatment meted out to pensioners. Where pensioners are forced to sleep on the steps of Social Security because the question of who gets in first, maybe we'll get a check. And to come forward to tonight, where pensioners are paid in a timely fashion, reflecting the respect and the love that this government has for those who would have built this country and whose shoulders we stand today. I want to remind us that salaries in 2014, 2013, 2012, the excuse that you could not get paid was because of some global crisis. And I come back now to 2018 to remind us that from 2014 June until the month of February just ended, every month barring none, every public servant has received his or her salary in a timely fashion. Lest we forget. One named Harold Lovell up and down the place saying he won't be prime minister. He won't be prime minister because he's cuter than Gaston. And let's suppose he's cuter than Gaston. How can that be the basis on which you elect a prime minister? I want to say to us that the real test comes on March 21. The real test of our understanding of what we have gone through and of what we're experiencing today comes on March 21. The real test of who we are as a people, our ability to understand and to relate to the realities of our existence, come on March 21. Do we go back for failure? Or do we continue on the upward movement with Gaston Brown and the Antigua ABLP Party? How could Harold Lovell wreck this country's economy 3.5 short years ago and come back 3.5 years on pretending that he has done no wrong? Where in the world could that happen? As a matter of fact, the real challenge is that we must tell the UPP how disgusted we are that they as a political party could even contemplate putting Harold Lovell as their leader. How can they call themselves Her Majesty's loyal opposition and for the failure to head that organization? How can we as a people, or how will we as a people look if we were to cause Harold Lovell, a known, tried and tested failure, to occupy that high chair of prime minister in this country? I didn't want to talk about the 15 grams. I leave for other nibs. But tonight, as we head into elections, 21 days, or one will say 20 days on, we as a people, as a country, have got to send to the rest of the world a very strong message, and to the UPP a very damning message, that we understand good governance from bad governance. We know performance from non-performance. We know aptitude and capabilities as opposed to persons who have none. And so, in every constituency, across the length and breadth of Antigua and Barbuda, we have got to register a very clear and resounding victory for government and a party that has always served the people of this country well. We've got to give Gaston Brown that mandate he needs. Because what a 17-none victory will do is send a message to Gaston Brown of appreciation of his stewardship. You have not had a single corruption issue in government for the last 3.5 years. You have had, to the contrary, plaudits from across the world about how Antigua and Barbuda is moving upward and forwards. So come March 21, let's now quickly and carefully examine the plan. And let's start out in St. Paul's. G-Foot, done. We leave in St. Paul's and we're going down to Alsace East and St. Luke. with Colin Tintin James. The fella run against Colin, they call him some kind of Pringle. Let me tell you something. Politics is on a Pringles moment, okay? They're serious business. Pringles chips, onion chips, and sour cream chips, Pringle chips. No. This is serious business. We talk about people's lives and livelihoods, about building a country, about continuing to rebuild a country inherited 3.5 years ago, destroyed by UPP. And so what we'll do, we'll let Colin James in all says East and St. Luke's and allow the people to eat Pringles chips. Then we're going around south. We're going around south. And we're going to pick up on Comrade Samantha Marshall, the only real Marshall in town. Let me hear the women of labor. The women of labor. And when we leave the valley on the southern corridor, we're going to join with a man called Malwin Margaret Joseph. I don't have to say nothing tall about Malwin Joseph. That is a brand by itself. That is a national brand by itself, representing excellence, which is what this party stands for. So we're coming around. We're coming around. And we come around with a young man. Young, bright, energetic man. A freshman in politics. But someone who has paid his dues to this country in many ways. Darrell Matthew. We're going to regain that seat and dedicate the win to Comrade Tico Lake, who has served the constituency for the last 8 years. And as we come around, we're coming around. This party, we believe in the love. The love. We pick up on the love man. Honorable Ted Roy Cutie Benjamin. This country's parliamentary agenda has been one never before seen in a short term of 3.5 years. Sterling work, outstanding legal work. You all remember on the UPP, every case the government fought, they lost. You remember that? Have you heard Cutie Benjamin losing any case for the government? All right, I say no more. So I'm moving on. Because of the pick up Cutie Benjamin, we are going down in Grand. Down in Grace Farm, Green Bay, Five Islands, Cooks. And Londell Benjamin must be brought home. You heard the man tonight talking about his exploits and his service in Leah. I can tell you I worked with him before. Serious, brilliant, excellent mind. And to the people of St. John's, Rural West, I want to say to you, let's suffer absolutely no regret by voting Londell Benjamin. But let's move on. Let's move on because, and guess what? I ain't going long so yet. I live in icing to put on cake. So I gotta move across the country because I know we have the most car in the whole Eastern Caribbean. So getting across country is not a problem now. I'm going straight up east, next to me. And I'm going for the brain man, the fat man, the bright man, the uncut man. And I want to say to people, say Philip South, you have obligation to ensure that one who has done so well for this country gets elected to Parliament. Prime Minister Gaston Brown could not have done it all by himself in the Ministry of Finance. A lot of the daily work was done by the man himself, Lennox Weston. And if you tell me as a country that you value and place a premium of appreciation on the work done to rebuild this country's economy in 3.5 short years, man, come on, let's get Weston to Parliament. Weston going to Parliament up in the east tells us that Robin done win. Robin done win. the longest serving parliamentarian in the history of this country and perhaps the Commonwealth. It is something that we as a people must be proud of, because many are called, few are chosen. Not anybody else at all would have served the parliament as long as he has. And it can't be that he's in parliament because he's skin color. He can't be in parliament because you're more goat than me. It has to be because of the service, the quality of service he provides to the people of St. Philip's North, and of course to the country of Antigua and Barbuda. But right now, I ain't driving no further. I can ride bicycle now. I'm pedaling from Winnicky down to Pierce Village. And I can ride into Parham. I can ride in Fitch's Creek. I can ride down in the factory. Asset the action man. Asset Michael the action man. The people of St. Peter's continue election after election to elect Asset the parliament. And they do so every election under the same theme. Asset cares for the people. Cares for the people. And so I can leave. Well, one of my constituents said must keep on riding because I look fit. So I ride it again. I leave it from St. Peter. And I'm going back to the little crevice there called Lightfoot. And I'm picking up the Minister of Education, because we will continue the work of rebuilding the education institution in this country, including the soon-to-be open 5 Islands campus. This is work to be completed. This is work in progress. And so All Saints West, I stand here tonight as a proud constituent of that constituency. Me and my family, we're ready to polling day. And I know that everybody else in All Saints West, understanding the value of education to the nation building process, understand that Michael Brown back in Parliament is a must for this country. Look, I'm weary now. I'm now riding on a bicycle. I'm going to get my quad. My quad. And I'm heading down to St. George. The mean dean. The mean dean. This is a comrade who last election, there were many persons thought was impossible. Over 500 votes. He removed the ragtag queen, and has since then been representing St. George people with pride and dignity, stealth and honor. And so as we ramp up towards 17 none, St. George, you are critical to the victory that we must score, will score, on behalf of Antigua and Barbuda come March 21st. Where are we now? Somebody say I must go across to rural east. Well, I ain't riding no quad to rural east because the quad makes too much noise. I am going to walk. I'm going to step across to rural east. I'm going to meet Her Majesty, Queen Maria. We are going to ensure that another woman is elected to the House of Parliament, and that this party's tradition of winning that seat continues, and that Maria Brown understands that she'll be filling large shoes left by emeritus leader Lester Bird, and we have every confidence that she should fill those shoes. She have to win. Half a win. Half a win. Maria Brown understands that she's not only the wife of the Prime Minister, but she's the granddaughter of the nation's foremost national hero, Sophia Caldwell Bird. That is pedigree. But let's move on. I have to now get across to St. John's City East quickly to meet my twin brother. To meet my twin brother. And guess what? I have rollerblades. I'm taking rollerblades to meet my brother. Chet Green will not sit in the Parliament of Antigua and Barbuda without Melford Nicholas next to me. Antigua and Barbuda party will go back to office with Melford Nicholas commanding all the information technology ministry. Bringing Antigua and Barbuda front and center in this global revolution. This is not a Mansour era. You know, gate and not tide and everything about acronym. This is about serious work. Bringing Antigua and Barbuda front and center as part of the global IT revolution. And the only man in politics today in Antigua who is capable of doing that is Melford Nicholas, my twin brother. Well, now, I'm not going across. I'm not Peter. I can't walk on water. Can't walk on water. An Air Barbuda plane is just about ready to fly. But because of the happenings of last year's hurricane season, where our brothers and sisters of Barbuda, for the most part, are on Antigua mainland, we are going to use the mainland to ensure that the democratic process of voting is also preserved for the citizens on Barbuda. Barbuda has had many representatives in the past, but none like Arthur Manuel Shabazz Nibs. It is the first time that Barbuda has been made to feel like a real part of the nation state. It's the first time that Barbudans, like us in Antigua, are allowed to own land. It's the first time that a Barbudan minister has been so involved in the day-to-day governance of the nation. And so, on my rollerblades, watch me, man, me rocket come in. Rocket come in, we come with Arthur Nibs. There will come, please, comrades and friends, Antiguans and Barbudans, electors, 16 of 17 constituencies, or 15 for that matter, 15. I'm going to go with, I think me and Jiffwood, me have brains now. Huh? For me head not big for nothing, you know. Huh? I'm going to go straight across to rural north. Rural north, and bring in Comrade Max Fernandez. He has anchored key ministries in government for the last 3.5 years, and his services are needed to continue to grow and build Antigua and Barbuda in this time of rebuilding. Max, don't sell diplomatic passport. Hold on, be careful with your pronunciation. Phonetics is called in school. You have Mac and you have Max. Be careful. Make sure you pronounce this thing correctly. Max does not sell passports. And Max is no Mac. I'll leave that with you. Let me go down now, finally, to bring in our leader. To bring in our leader. The man who has rescued Antigua and Barbuda from collapse. The man who continues daily to lead this government successfully. The man who has all it takes to continue to rebuild Antigua and Barbuda. The man who places a premium on the work we have done for the last 3.5 years together. And every time he talks, I want you to listen to him. He doesn't take credit by himself. He gives it to his team. And more importantly, he talks about the nation working together. A meritocratic society. And so, here we have, comrades and friends, Antigua and Barbuda, 17 constituencies where we are called upon to go on election day and vote 17 none and give the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party a resounding victory as we continue to rebuild our fair nation together. God bless you. Good night, Antigua, Barbuda. Until
Thank you very much, Comrade Green. And since he left us at City West, we're going to stay there. And I'm going to invite the best Prime Minister in the entire region. Join me in welcoming the Honorable Gaston Brown.
They can't stop us. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning and I lay my head to rest, every day of my life I am blessed. Them flop. Them flop. Them flop. Flop. Not ready yet. Them flop. Pull up. Thank you very much. Thank you. My dear comrades, unfortunately, I only have about 5 minutes because we have 2 other power speakers to come. Sir Robin Yearwood and the Honorable Malvin Joseph. You know, they say that when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. The people of Antigua and Barbuda moaned and groaned for 10 years. In 2014, we rescued this country. And the irony about it is that less than 4 years later, those who destroyed this country are now arguing, trying to make a case to run this country. Do you want it back? But of course not. They destroyed this country. They bankrupted this country. They put thousands of people out of work. Labour Party restored the gains of previous decades, expanded the economy, put you back to work. We brought in significant investments. And today, Antigua and Barbuda is the envy of the Caribbean. You know, they say that God is good. And all the time. Just today, we met with a billionaire from the Middle East. And the visit emanated from a trip that I made to the Middle East just recently, 2 weeks ago. And they were so impressed that they decided to come here. And we held meetings with them today. Myself, Ambassador Jilbay Bustani, Ambassador Brian Stewart Young. And they have pledged to immediately after the next general elections to pump at least $500 million United States dollars in this country's economy. So today, Antigua and Barbuda is a thriving country. Unlike the 10 years under the UPP, when nothing at all was going on for the country, right now Antigua and Barbuda popping, man. Today the investments are coming, opportunities are coming to you. Today healthcare is better than it was for the 10 years under the UPP. Today our educational plant is better. Life is better in Antigua and Barbuda today. Thousands more are working. Today, pensioners do not have to line up anymore to get their pension checks. My government has never missed a single payment. We have never been late with salary payments for the last approximately 4 years in office. And I made this point before, and I will make it again. there's some people who evidently do not understand the Queen's language. This is conjunctive. I made the point that my government is the only government since the inception of Social Security that never borrowed a cent and would have paid all of its premiums, all of its contributions. No other government ever did it. No other government in the past. Just yesterday, we completed salaries and wages. And you know, we promised public servants a 5% increase. Public servants have the money in the bank. We say what we mean and we mean what we say. Champion, yes man. Labour Party, real champion. You know, I feel extremely proud to see so many thousands of individuals out tonight to support this great institution. And you know the irony about it? The UPP cannot even wage a proper campaign. The latest thing now, they say the paraphernalia got stuck in China. And they say that their manifesto, that they're not ready to release it. Guess what? They don't have the manifesto. So while they had all the fat chat, said they want the Labour Party or the government, and that they were ready, we have proven to the people of Antigua and Barbuda that the UPP not ready yet. Them flop, 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 them flop. But I want to say to you, even though they flop, we're not going to take anything, anybody, anyone for granted. As one of my colleagues said, Comrade Michael Brown, this time around, we go done them. Because if we don't done them and you allow them to come back, those of you who have a job today may well find yourselves out of work. Those of you who have a car today may find yourselves walking, God forbid, and you allow the return of the UPP. Those of you who have a home may find yourselves homeless. I say to you that by supporting this government, by supporting this great institution, you are protecting your own interests. This is not about Gaston Brown, not about Marlon Joseph, Robin Yearwood, Chet Green. This is about you. And let me tell you, we recognize the risk associated with the protracted election. We said, let us go early. Let us deal with those destructive elements decisively. Let us put them away for good. You know, I had a call from Observer Radio today to tell me that members of the UPP peddling misinformation, aided and abetted by some person in the public sector, to say that our visa-free access into the UK and Europe was withdrawn. Totally untrue. But what they're trying to do is to destroy this country. They want to be kings of the ashes. They do not care about you. And let me tell you, there are some elements in this society who used to live off the hog. They used to have their big contracts, make them millions, their tens of millions, while you were suffering. They will say to you that we are doing badly, because guess what? We have said that the money must trickle down. We're not putting a 10 and a 20 and a $30 million in a one-man pocket. If you want 10 million, 20 million, $30 million, go into private sector and earn it. We're not giving you no government contract for no $30 million and leave the masses out of work. We are products of the working class people of this country. We will empathize with you. We will empower you. We will help you to grow and to develop. We'll transition you into the middle class to become millionaires. But at the same time, we want to make sure that there is equity in our development. I assure you that there are a plethora of projects that are taking place presently. You have, for example, the Royal Antiguan Hotel that will come on stream this year, in November of this year, after the next tourism season. Many jobs will be created. Thousands of jobs will be created. Better jobs will be created. And I know some of you are yearning for better jobs. This time around, this term, we're looking for better jobs. Better paying jobs for you, the people of Antigua and Barbuda. to make sure that we can improve your living standards and to transition you into the middle class. We don't want the poor people in this country, man. We don't want no poor and indigent persons. And anything my government could do to empower you, you can be assured that the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government will do so. One of the things that we will do, we will make sure that you play a more significant role in the heights of this country's economy. For example, in the tourism sector, one of the things that we will do is that we will provide you with beach property, waterfront property, so that you can build your little small boutique resort, become part of the hotel sector, to make a foreign exchange, to make money. Those are the opportunities that we provide for you. We are not involved in corrupt government contracting. We will never take $1.4 billion of public works money and waste it. We will make sure that the $250 million that we have earmarked for this year, those proceeds are utilized exclusively to build the roads through the length and breadth of this country. All of the problems that are left behind, my government will fix them. We fixed the water problem. We fixed the electricity problem. We paid off West Indies Oil Company, and then we purchased it. Today we have 51% ownership of West Indies Oil Company. We solved the water problem with Semcorp. We paid them the $22 million on the road. We resolved the problems that we inherited. And you would see one by one, we're taking them down, man. The school plant that needed expansion, we expanded it by 210,000 square feet of space in 1 year. Let's hear it for Labour, man. You have a performing government. I will leave healthcare up to Comrade Malvin Joseph, the best Minister of Health anywhere within the Caribbean, will address you shortly, and he will speak to you about health and healthcare. So my dear colleagues, as I said to you, unfortunately, I only have 10 minutes. But I want to thank you very much for coming out in your numbers. And I want to remind you that on March 21st, it is important that you go out and vote. You cannot take the position that the Labour Party has already won and do not go out to vote. Every single vote counts. And I want you to also take responsibility to get your family members out to vote. Get your neighbor out to vote. Help us to canvass. Help us to mobilize this country into one big mighty army as we destroy the UPP. We must destroy Harold Lovell and the UPP in the public's interest. Let's hear it for Labour, man. Labour all the way on March 21st. Labour all the way. Thank you very much.
That was our Prime Minister. And he just said we're going to destroy the UPP. And I promised you earlier that I was going to tell you exactly what will happen on the night of March 21st. I've entitled it UPP Finish. When we win this election on the 22nd of March, this is what's going to happen. Projects will be consummated. Crime will be subjugated. Wealth will be perpetuated. Poverty will be eliminated. UPP finish. A new era will be inaugurated. UPP will be obliterated. Their supporters will be consternated. DNA will be annihilated. UPP finish. Comrade Nibs, Barbuda will be renovated. Codrington will be repopulated. Its product will be rebanded. Trevor Walker and BPM will be terminated. Them finish. Asot Michael will be exonerated. His haters will be prostrated. Corruption will be eradicated. Bad governance will be exterminated. UPP finish. Lovell, Daniel, Hughes, Nicholas et al. Will be humiliated. Weston, Benjamin, James, and Matthew will be elevated. The ALP will be vindicated. And Gaston Brown will be congratulated. Then finish. Then with new meaning on the 22nd, the day after election, we will sing the political version of that old gospel song that I love so much. Higher than I've ever been. Higher than yesterday's gains. Where eagles can soar. We look up and we'll see the economic powerhouse door. Because we are going higher. Higher. Higher with labor. UPP finish. Comrade Malwi Joseph can talk to the people.
Good night. Good night, good night, good night. My goodness. What a marvelous crowd tonight. Wow. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. You know, it's a pleasure as an elected member to serve a great nation like Antigua and Barbuda. And I want to recognize the constituents of St. Mary's North are here tonight. Okay. I want to leave a very brief message with you tonight. Every election determines the direction of a nation. And we have to decide now. And we have to confirm it on the 21st. That the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party must form the next government in Antigua and Barbuda after the next general election. That decision is right in your hands. And you must understand that you must create your own history. There are many attacks on the Antigua Labour Party in this war that is going on. And being in politics for a long time, I can identify some of the serious attacks that might miss other people who do not have the political experience. And I want to quickly deal with an article that came out of Jamaica in what is called the Jamaica Observer, which is another attack on the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. And let me say this. The Prime Minister of any country, including this one, became the Prime Minister through legitimate means. And when you have a Prime Minister that is elected
he must be respected by everybody, including investors. And this attack on the Prime Minister should be another reason why you must vote the Antigua-Barbuda Labour Party on the 21st of March. Let me read for you what the article says and why it is raising it as an issue. It said Antigua Prime Minister Gaston Brown has called general elections for March 21st, 2018. And that is his right under the Constitution. When they behave as if the Prime Minister has done something wrong, something unusual, by calling an election that is within the four corners of our Constitution, a year before they are constitutionally due. Well, when the Prime Minister calls an election, it is constitutionally due. And they're saying he wants to protect projects that are in the pipeline for 2018. But what's wrong about that? And we know we have to protect the projects because the UPP is out there scandalizing the name of Antigua and Barbuda every day. And this is not 30 years ago. Everything they say permeates the international community. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter. So when you hear anybody denigrate the nation of Antigua and Barbuda, they are doing it globally, and it harms us. It harms the people. But it says, but observers here insist that Brown's Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party is rapidly losing popularity among voters. Wait a minute. Are you turning yourself away from the Antigua Labour Party? And having nothing to show after almost 4 years in office. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that this Observer newspaper in Jamaica is getting in our business and talking about we have not achieved anything? This is the reason why you have to go out on the 21st and wipe out UPP totally. It goes on to say, the ALP won 14 of 17 seats up for grabs in 2014 elections. Well, next time around, we're winning 17 out of 17. In which she defeated the then ruling United Progressive Party, led by Baldwin Spencer, who indicated last week that he would be retiring from electoral politics. And this is the part, next paragraph I'm going to read, that it reveals the whole story behind what is happening. And let me say this, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, when you all go home, get a pencil and write down what I'm going to tell you. This is what it says. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party will face the fast rising UPP. UPP virtually dead, but in their mind it is fast rising. You could see who they're supporting, led by Senator Harold Lovell, who has been hammering home his message that Brown has not achieved anything for Antigua and Barbuda in 4 years, except to antagonize investors in this country. You see what happened? I want you to listen to this. In history, every leader gets a chance to define himself. History affords the opportunity for every leader. By taking an action, he defines who he is. In 1951, when Moody Stuart said to the workers of Antigua and Barbuda, in 1951, Moody Stuart said to the workers and V.C. Bird, we would stab you into submission. All the people were asking for is better working conditions. And he felt he was so powerful that he could say to the workers and the leaders then, like V.C. Bird, we'll stab you into submission. You know what V.C. Bird says? I will take you on. You want to starve us? You don't want to serve justice? Well, we will eat the widdy and cockle and sit out. And you know what happened? Eventually, it was he who surrendered. He buckled. Now, let's fast forward now. Gaston Brown is faced with a situation in Antigua and Barbuda where Howard Lovell gave away $100 million of ABST to Sandals. And then when the Prime Minister said, look, this can't be right. You can't be giving away $100 million when hospitals don't have diagnostic equipment. You can't be giving away $100 million when our schools need expanding. So you see, history gave Gaston Brown an opportunity to define himself. He could have said, Gaston Brown could have said, okay, Mr. Butch, let us sit down and talk. I will forget it. You can keep the 100, and you can keep another 100 for the next 20 years. Gaston Brown put down his foot and he said, no. He said, no. I am standing for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. I'm standing for justice. And as a result, they have engaged in an act of terrorism. They're terrorizing the man in the paper. I thought the thing was over 2 weeks ago. I thought they would have said, let us stop this nonsense. But just last week, I read on the internet this other attack. And I said to myself, it's time for this thing to stop. And let me say to you, my message to you tonight, the only way this is going to stop is for you to go to the polls on March the 21st and bring an end to this nonsense. Go vote for the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. Shut up Howard Lovell and get rid of the UPP. That is what it is. He has defined himself and he has said to the people of Antigua, you can count on me to stand up for you at all times. And this is what it is. Now let me say this. We have something called the DNA and the UPP. I normally would not take on the DNA. But when you hear this lady went on radio this morning and tell the whole world that we don't have diagnostic equipment working. She said the MRI is not working. The CAT scan is not working. Nothing is working. You know, there is something, let me tell you something about the UPP and the DNA. All of them are liars. They intend to lie themselves into power. But if I had the time tonight, I could chronicle the achievements of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, especially in health. I'll do it another time. But just today, we commissioned another 6 units to do dialysis up at Mount St. John to help the people of Antigua and Barbuda. Just today. And you know the DNA say that they're new, they're fresh, and they're dynamic. And that definition always fascinates me. So I ask myself, are they new? How are they going new when they had the boy from Rural West? What's his name? Stuart. How are they going new when they have the one they want to run for Labour Party, then one on True Labour? What's his name? Dalso. Them the all recycled wannabe politician. And they call themselves new. So they can't be new. They say they're dynamic. Well, anybody can be dynamic. If you jump from one side to the next, you're dynamic. But you know what fascinates me? They say they're fresh. And I said to myself, you know, under those circumstances, fresh is like a woman that say she want to keep man that fresh. How will you keep man gonna be fresh? That is the kind of fresh you talk about. And let me say to you, politics is serious business. And we have moved Antigua and Barbuda in leaps and bounds. And all they do, they try to inject in the minds of the people of Antigua and Barbuda that hell is on earth. Hell is here. But let me say to you, I'm going to wrap up now till we come again. But let me say to you, we have, in my estimation, the greatest opportunity to advance Antigua and Barbuda after March the 21st. This election is about leadership. This election is about whether or not you feel safer going forward with Howard Lovell or Gaston Brown. And as far as I'm concerned, very much apart from the polls that have already established that Gaston Brown is the leader of choice in this country, I am saying to you that I have absolutely no doubt that the next election after March 31st, the 21st, the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party will form the next government. And I say good night to you. May God bless you until we come again.
Thank you, Comrade Joseph. One more. We're going way up east. The man who has served this country for more than 40 years. I welcome tonight to address you, Comrade Robin Yarwood. Robin to win.
Good night, comrades, comrade leader, comrades on the platform. You better bet that. Tonight, I want to tell you why the whole of Antigua and Barbuda should vote for the Antigua Labour Party. In 2004, when they came in, you remember they said they had the boat with the investors at Sandy Island? If you lose a job at 9 o'clock, you get one at 9:02. That 9 o'clock came, but the 2 minutes after 9 never came. As our leader tonight told us, and don't ever, the people of Antigua and Barbuda, put your life in another man. We are telling you, all of us on here can vouch that man Gaston Brown. Let him take care of you. Comrades, 2004, they were lucky, and we're going to prove these points to you so you can have arguments with them. In 2004, when they got in, they met some money in the treasury. They could have paid salaries. You remember? When they go in, the first thing they did, they wanted a stabilization fund. And they put personal income tax on you. If the economy was bad then, could you have put personal income tax on the people of this country? It would have sink it. Having put personal income tax on you, within another year or so, a year and a half, they came with the ABST. And today we hear the UPP saying that in 2008, the world economy, world crisis. If you don't know, leave the people job. Boldface say if you don't know, you just don't know. So all over the world, where the stock market and everything went down, you heard America go down, you heard England go down, you heard St. Lucia, Barbados, certain places go down, but they just didn't know how to manage. They overtaxed us. Personal income tax. ABST one time, that is about 30-something%. They drag out your salary. About 37% of your money went right out there, coming back to give to the government. What they should have done when the economy, when they felt the world situation was bad, the little money that they were picking up, employ the people, keep the spending power going. And if they kept the spending power, keep you off the streets. I remembered in my constituency, the whole of it every day, they were under trees. They were under trees. Can't find no work, no way, none. So they don't have the idea of how to run country. When you have these hard times, you ease up off of the taxes to let the people have more money in their hand. Right? and they never did that. And they went on punishing us. They say that they never victimized. What happened to the port workers? What happened to ABS? What happened to Muff, my good comrade? She was here not too long. They fired her from the airport. They went out and picked up people, and they fired them. And watch, a new leader came in. Not a man. That's right, lose the job. We all were in CARICOM. And as you reminded me, my dear comrade, we must remember that these Caribbean people, our people, they came into this country under labor because we wanted more workers. The economy was high. And so we had to bring them in and allow them in. And the first thing they did, they were rounding up our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Today you saw one, tomorrow gone. And what? And you looked that they came in when they deported our CARICOM nationals, they thought that they were doing good. Look how vindictive they were. They went to Parliament all over the world, internationally in the Commonwealth. 3 years you live in a country, you're allowed to vote. They went to Parliament and they raised it to 7 years. You can't even marry to a lady and get citizenship after 3 years. You have to wait on, wait on. They spited those nationals. And they came here and they made their contribution. That is the type of government we had then. And if you give them a chance, but you know something? They moved the Caribbean nationals because they couldn't find work. Antiguans were making noise. Of course, Antiguans want work. And there was no work in the country. So grab the foreigners, as they call them. Since when a CARICOM national can be called a foreigner? Since when? Since when? And what they did, they went and they gave them the passport in 2000, Millennium Passport, and they so fooled them off, that passport could not be renewed. It didn't worth its salt. They had to wait. And it's now the CARICOM brothers and sisters are getting the Antigua and Barbuda passport. But comrades, you can look and see when the economy went down, they had no alternative, no knowledge of how to steer an economy. And so what they did, they decided they had to turn to borrowing. And they borrowed left, right, center. And they amassed such a large debt, and they did not pay any of the debt. Thank God for the advent of Gaston Brown Labour Party. When he came in, I can remember the IMF. We have in cabinet, the first cabinet meeting, IMF banged down the door. They come to pick up. They come to pick up the money. And one of the things that we Antiguans and Barbudans and all of us who live here, they borrowed $320 million from IMF. And look now, tonight, your government that you elected, not even in office for 4 years, and the second to last payment, they're getting them Tuesday. And this time, Tuesday, whatever date it is, the 6th of June, wherever you are, raise your glass and say, freedom day, IMF gone. IMF gone, gone, gone for good. Never to return here with no damn loan. Never to come here and decide what we must and should not do. Tell them it's Gaston Brown and these men who understand how to run government. We are going to continue, but it's your business, it's your power. They're coming lying, lying, lying to you. What have they done? 1.5 million for roads. And you see the jelly bean roads mash up. You see they put some red thing across the gutters. You know how many accidents happen that we have to compensate for? You know that? We are going to have to dig up all that in the new term. And that's why we want a mandate. You know why we want a mandate? To continue. You heard the PM said tonight. He spoke to this investor. There's several investors. They hear what they have been grumbling and saying on the platform, writing on paper and on Facebook. These people want continuity. They want to make sure that when they put the money in, the money safe. And so we come back to you because we have stabilized the country. The country is stabilized now. We know what's going on. We have put the country on its firm footing again. And Gaston Bone don't want to see Antigua and Barbuda. We're not going nowhere else to live. We're living here. We born here. We live here. And we're dead here. So we do not want to see no amateur get back into Antigua and Barbuda government. We don't want that thing to happen again. And so we're asking you, we're beseeching you, never ever change good for no good. Never, never, never do that. Look, when they say people first, who is the government that have put people first? This Gaston Bone Labour. This ABLP put people first. When you look and you see what they have done to you, man, you should have quiet water every time you hear their name called. You should. They didn't treat you right. Thank you. They came, and when you look, what have they done for the people that they promised? When you look, you remember we had a land for youth program. Where was it stopped? We had to give back the young people who made deposits their money. And I am proud to tell you, Gaston Bone has started. We're clearing land now. Back to the land for youth, we're giving it. We're going to give, because you see, where Gaston Bone think ahead of the time, when you own a piece of the rock, you're going to protect it. You're going to die for it. And so, he's bringing back land for youth. They talk about, we started it, we start it again, and we say, if there is a program over there to sell land, and it's a young people, you can choose the piece out there, and you will get the land for youth price when you and me have to pay the big people price. So the land for youth, but we're doing some lands now strictly for the youths. Strictly. And we want the young people to own the piece of the rock. As we get older, they will fight for the country. Because it's their rock. Comrades, when we look around, look, they're going back. They were in government for 10 years. And they didn't even read the files that we left there. When we left there, farmers could get leases. If they're going to work 5 acres and up, they get up to 25-year lease, and they can build on the land, live on the land, farm the land. We did that since 1986. And they're coming to tell you the United Nations came in here. Since I was Minister of Agriculture, we did that. That we got help from FAO and the United Nations. And if you want to ask, go to the PS Ernest Henry. And you can ask, Ernest Benjamin. And you can ask Frank Henry, who was the Director of Agriculture. It's there, we had it there, for lease, for farmers. And they're coming now trying to fool poor farmers. We're going to give lease, and farmers can go get lease anytime they want. That's how they don't read files. They don't understand nothing going. And that's them. They say people first. What is the greatest hindrance in Antigua and Barbuda? What's the greatest hindrance? Water. 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 water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. You remember that? Shakespeare? And I am telling you, when they were in power, they got some reverse osmosis plants from Venezuela. Brand new plants. And when they were in office, one of them up by the Defense Force, 50% of the plants were working because they had to take parts from one to the other. No money they spent for that. The one down at Fries, no money they spent for that. And when we got in, you heard Comrade Chet said, the one out at Pigeon Point there. We bought a new one out there. And this government did not stay there. We bought a brand new one up by the end of the base there, Barnacle Point. And we can tell you tonight, all our plants are working. All. When I arrived there, the most water they ever gave was from Semcorp, and the highest amount that when I got in there we could ever get was 4.5, 4.6 was the highest. Today, I want to tell you that the Gaston Brown government, all these men behind me, we have put, every day we can put over 8 million gallons of water on the line. 8 million. So we see to it that if God don't send any rain, we get it from the sea. And so we are making us sure that water will be there. But my dear comrades, because of all them 10 years they were there, they did no maintenance. All the pipes were there, they never had water running through them. So now we put the pressure on them. We see where the burst pipe coming from. So you have a little patience with us. With our plants, when the sea turning up with sand, we can't run them because if the sand gets in the membrane, it damages it. And one membrane costs $60,000 US, and they're not on shelf. You have to wait to get them. So you'll have to wait longer again. We don't want that. So some areas, like round south, that get water from the plant down by Fries. And down there's sand boiling up in that. So we do going to have some problems, but we're trying now every day to what you don't use in St. Johnson around here. We're sending some of the water south. Because we can send it all around now. We have made sure of that. And to make sure we have you happy that you can survive and do your work. Nobody going to say they can't get water for 2 weeks and all them ignorance. Those days are finished. And comrades, when we look out and you see with the development that we have had, and look how the cog, you know one of the things they say, they did sandals. You all forget before we left office in 2003, the election was 2004. You all forget we invited you for the groundbreaking ceremony at Sandals. Y'all remember that? Even the then leader of the opposition, the Honorable Baldwin Spencer, he was invited, he was there. And we turned aside for that Sandals. Then they talk about veranda. Look how they go. When they say about when Comrade Joseph Red running investors, we sold the land to veranda before we left office in 2004. And when they got in, the vindictiveness in their heart, they told veranda, don't do no more building, do nothing. When they had started, until you pay us $1 more million US. $1 more million. And that's what they did. So comrades, everything that is done in Antigua is the Antigua and Barbados Party do it. Schools, electricity, water, telephone, And stay tuned, because all of you who have phones from hither, thither, and yan, wet your hand and wait for Gaston Brown government. By the 15th of this month, get yourself ready, because you're going to get a top-of-the-line service from the phone for you phone company that you own, iNet. We're coming in with a new, you're going to get the real 4G. The real 4G you're getting. Okay, so stay tuned, and we want you to come and get your 4G and enjoy it. And these are the type of things that we have been doing. If they spend 1.5 million on road, where are the roads that they spend that money on? And we had to pay off all them debt. We had to pay off all them debt. And we pay you on time. We make sure that you have your jobs, you have happiness. And so tonight, I see the General Secretary want to go sleep. She's tired, she worked well. And I want to tell you tonight, make sure you go to that poll, carry your friend, your cousin, your neighbor, and make sure you vote Antigua Barbuda Labour Party candidate. Because on the 22nd, we want to celebrate. Let us go and have a good time. Stay with Labour. You can never regret. God bless you.
Woi. Labour Party people. Labour Party people. You see what make Robin Dunn win? That's the man. Listen. No meetings on the weekends, as you know. But please, carry the message. You have been an excellent audience tonight. Carry the message in every nook, in every cranny. Walk with a friend. Make sure you get out the votes. We cannot win if you don't vote. And we have them on the ropes. Do not let them go. May the Lord watch between me and you while you're absent one from another. For Christ's sake, amen. Have a safe drive home. You have been excellent. Good night.